Well, new at 6, 10 Investigates has learned new details about former Mount Carmel Dr. William Husel. The last time you saw him was this moment.
We, the jury in this case, being duly impaneled, sworn by the defendant not guilty.
Husel was found not guilty on 14 counts of murder in connection to the death of patients in his care back in April. After his acquittal, he still faces several civil lawsuits connected to his care. That brings us to the developments tonight.
10 Investigates has learned attorneys for Husel want his recent deposition sealed, keeping hidden from the public what he told attorneys representing the patients' families. Now, Chief Investigative Reporter Bennett Haberly reveals why.
A couple of developments here. First, William Husel's attorney has asked that his client's deposition and its transcript be sealed, arguing that what Husel told the attorneys representing the patient's families will cause him embarrassment, undue burden, and potentially prejudice a jury ahead of a civil trial. Husel, by the way, was acquitted of 14 counts of murder back in April. Prosecutors had argued that Husel was responsible for the deaths of his patients through overprescribing them doses of fentanyl and other drugs. His attorneys say the patients were in poor health and dying, and that's what killed them, not the drugs. But Husel still faces 10 wrongful death lawsuits that allege he and Mount Carmel were negligent, had lax internal controls, and were responsible for the deaths of the patients under his care. Attorneys for the patients' families have opposed this motion to seal Husel's deposition, which took place over 10 days back in August. Contained in this latest court filing, by the way, were affidavits from prosecutors noting that after his acquittal back in April, prosecutors were still weighing another criminal case for the deaths of 18 patients who were not part of Husel's trial. The affidavit from May of this year states, quote, "The investigation and review of evidence involving these 18 patient deaths is active and ongoing." This afternoon, I spoke to attorney Dave Schroyer, who represents some of the patients' families.
We shouldn't be handcuffed to not talk about what he said or what he didn't say in the deposition. And this deposition was taken down by a court reporter. It was under oath. It was videotaped by a videographer. We want to file both those and make those available to anybody that wants to look at them.
And you think that's important because?
Well, I think it's an important public policy issue. Not only do we want to use all that information in our cases, but I think it's important for the public to know what the thought process was of William Husel in this case.
This afternoon, I also spoke to prosecutor Janet Grubb, who told me she could not comment beyond what's already contained in the court record, saying it says what it says. Back to you.
10 Investigates also spoke to Husel's attorney, Jose Baez, who said he thinks the jury spoke loudly and clearly with its verdict acquitting Dr. Husel. He added that he would hope the prosecution would focus its attention elsewhere. The civil cases against Dr. Husel remain pending, with the trial date set for next year.